Mr. David Carpenter.
I got this notification about unvetted refugees coming in the road.
Oh, yes, so we're going to have more on that in a bit. If you, please go ahead.
I have 3 questions. Is this one of the new apartment complexes going in on the road? Are these people being vetted? Are they being sponsored? And the school system, has there been a publication for new teachers age to help finance or help the language barrier with these children that will be going on the road?
Any questions?
That's it.
Yes, sir. When you sit, I'll answer them.
Excuse me?
When you leave the podium, I'll answer them, so we don't get into a discussion. There are no unvetted refugees, as far as we know, coming into the city. We have not been notified.
Come on.
You know, I'm going to go into recess if I can't get through what I have to say, and I respect what everybody has to say, and I do not interrupt. I would ask the same courtesies. It's just common courtesy. I'm attempting to answer this gentleman's question. No, sir. We are not asking unvetted refugees to come into the city. We don't know of any coming into the city. Therefore, the balance of your questions, we can't answer. That's something the federal government's going to have to answer to, because they're the ones that admits everybody into the United States, not us. So we haven't heard of anything coming in. So thank you, sir. Mr. Earl Hennon.
Yes, my name is Earl Hennon. I own a house on Laurelwood Road, Lemon Grove. I bought it in 1980. I'm a retired Navy veteran and life member of VFW. Worked a total of 51 years for the federal government, at both active duty and for Command and Naval Air Pacific. What's going on in this city is ludicrous. The roads are falling apart. I had a sheriff pull me over the other day on Canton Street going from across Skyline down towards Blossom and Washington Street. He asked me if I was drunk. I said, no, I'm just trying to miss the potholes. And he said, yeah, I know what you're talking about. I do the same thing all the time. This infrastructure is falling apart in this city. You changed the rules on our laterals, on our houses, and you made them in 92 a responsibility for us. It's not our responsibility. If I go dig up the street to try to clean my laterals out, you guys are going to try to sue me. Well, let me tell you something. I grew up in Kansas City, Missouri, and to tell you what you guys are doing here is absolutely ludicrous. And then bringing all these refugees in that we don't know if they're vetted, we don't know who they are, it's horrible. We know what's going on here. I drove around Lemon Grove the other day trying to get parts for my house, and I counted 137 people sleeping in the parks and on our benches, and 5 of them right out here. It's ridiculous. It's got to stop. How about the $950,000 that was taken away from the city this year? $50,000 this week alone. Because the money's not being spent right. It's been spent on everything else other than what it's supposed to be. And now I understand that they're going to try to bulldoze all the way from those new projects down here by the trolley station all the way to Home Depot and put new housing in there. It's ridiculous, it's ludicrous, and it should be stopped. We don't need any more people in here that we don't know who they are or where they're coming from. We do not need those people in this city. I was in Food for Less the other day. A lady in Muslim garb asked me where something was. Her husband come up and hit her on the shoulder and says, don't talk to these people. They don't have any business telling you what to do. I told him if he didn't hit her again, I was going to take him outside and call the sheriff. So let me tell you something. Bringing all these people in here that we don't know who they're from, where they're coming from, or who they are, it's got to stop, and it's got to stop now. IB already shut it down, and I talked to Mayor Wells a couple of weeks ago. They're trying to do it over there. It's got to be stopped. We don't need it in Lemon Grove. We don't have enough schools here, enough teachers, or enough money to take care of our own city. The city, I know, is pretty close to being broke. We need to stop it, and stop it now. This city is falling apart. absolutely falling apart. You drive around here, I'd like to take you in my car or my truck someday and let you drive around me and find out how bad the streets are. Thank you
sir.
very much.
Thank you, sir. There are no plans to bulldoze all the way down to Home Depot. I have no idea where that came from. That's not a plan at all. And we're not broke. We actually are running a surplus. Mr. Ogden, please, sir.
You said that the Pure Water project was a euphemism for full caca, basically it's caca. So it's a welcoming city project. It's a propaganda campaign to try to convince people to accept immigrants and refugees that they normally wouldn't want. And you're not telling the truth about what it is. And it's not just in the US. It's in Europe, particularly Germany, in Canada, in Australia. It's all over the world. They're trying to convince people to take refugees that you would normally accept, that can't be vetted, that are not vetted. She did not tell you the truth. It
Sir,
was the
would you
truth
talk to
in what
us,
she said. She said, I don't know.
Mr. Ogden, you're
But
speaking to us.
They cannot.
You're speaking to us, Mr. Ogden.
No, I'm not.
You're here to, no,
I'm
this
not.
public comment comes, okay.
They
we're in
cannot
recess.
be vetted. The FBI director said they
Stop
cannot be
recording.
vetted. And a lot of them are coming over the border.
It's not recording,
It's not
and she's
recording.
in recess. It's public comment to the council, not to the...
You won't let me speak then.
You can speak to the council.
They're not being vetted. They're coming across the
If
border.
At
They're
this
saying
time,
the
they're
right
in
words.
council, they're in recess. Because you're not
Right.
following the rules.
You
that
will
are
not
set.
let me speak. I hear you will not let me speak.
You're hearing the wrong thing. There's a rule to this public comment, and it's been explained. It's public comment to the council. This group can hear, this body that's in the audience can hear you speak to the council. She's trying to give you the rules to express yourself to the council in public comment. Pretty clear how the rules go. If you'd like to continue that, you can. If not, you can be excused from the council chamber.
Well, I'm going to be basically saying much the same thing facing him.
Perfect. That's the rule.
Absolutely delighted to have you do that, Mr. Ogden.
Okay, it was called the welcoming culture idea in Germany. And they welcomed the refugees at the train stations with welcome signs. And Angela Merkel told them all to come. And it ended up in a disaster for Germany. There were 1.5 million pseudo-refugees that showed up in Germany in a few months. 200,000 of them have disappeared. They don't know where they are. And hundreds of them have fake passports. They came from Syria, and that's a major manufacturing center for fake passports. And there have been several examples of people that have become terrorists that were refugees. Recently, one in near Berlin was caught in a plot to bomb the airports. And in Houston, a young man just pled guilty for planning to bomb the malls down there. He was a refugee from Iraq. And in Minnesota, the guy who stabbed 9 people was a refugee from Somalia. And also the San Bernardino attacks. This is when this welcoming city started, and in Encinitas, they felt sorry for the Muslims because there might be a reaction against them. So they started the welcoming city thing in San Diego. Tony Kranz did. And you're not telling the people the truth. You know you're not telling the people the truth. And I'm going to inform them as best I can so that they understand what this is all about. It's a fraud. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Mr. Ogden. We do have the actual resolution we passed on the board, if anybody is... We do have the actual resolution on the board, if anybody is interested in reading it. There it is, that's what we actually passed. John, I'm having some problems reading your...
Thank you, members of the council, for permitting me this opportunity. And if I get stuck, I have a little water here that I may have to drink to continue through. My voice is a little dry. In November of 2015, Jeff Sessions Senator Jeff Sessions led an investigation into unvetted Middle East immigrants. Senator Sessions explained the FBI director tells us there are now active ISIS investigations in all 50 states. I think there are 900 open cases. Matthew Emrich, Associate Director for Fraud Detection and National Security Directorate, testified that in many countries the U.S. accepts refugees from, the country did not have extensive data holdings. That meant that there were no records of arrests or convictions or birth, identity, education, employment, or residence. Nothing, yet such immigrants were admitted into the United States, refugees in this particular case. There is no way you can do background checks on these people. I don't believe you can tell us with any certainty that that person is who he says he is, Senator Sessions remarked. Senator Sessions went on to describe recent Middle East immigrants who have begun terrorist activities after resettlement in the United States. He mentioned 6 Somali men from Minnesota charged in November with and an Uzbek Muslim refugee in Idaho who was convicted in August for making bombs and recruiting other Muslims to attack U.S. military installations. 7 others in Minnesota charged with trying to join ISIS, among dozens of others. Senator Sessions' subcommittee established a list of 72 men arrested between July 2014 and July 30th, 2015, who were charged with terrorist activity and appear to be immigrants from Muslim nations. There are other worrisome concerns with unvetted Middle East immigrants. The Federal Office of Refugee Resettlement in 2015 reported that 91% of Middle East refugees are on food stamps, 68% on cash assistance, 73% on Medicaid, 32% on SSI, and 20% in public housing. The same report stated that a refugee household enrolled in one welfare program is likely to be enrolled in multiple welfare programs. 296 refugees, mostly Somali, were diagnosed with active tuberculosis between 2010 and 2014 in Minnesota. 71 were diagnosed within 1 year of their arrival. While 225 were diagnosed after the first year, but within 5 years. This means that the majority of TB-infected refugees were allowed to move freely in Minnesota for 1 up to 5 years before being detected. TB is very contagious. Should latent individual become compromised with another disease or injured, the latent TB may be reactivated and become contagious. The U.S. eradicated TB in the late 19th and early 20th century. Strict public hygiene regimens that are primitive by today's standards are very effective and still work today for any nation that wants to try that.
Thank you, sir. Reverend Wayne Riggs.
We're not doing that, guys.
Well, Reverend Riggs is coming up. Can I just say, just for point of clarification, that Lemon Grove has not taken any position on federal policy. Immigration is federal policy. We don't have a position on immigration. We passed a resolution last spring that welcomes refugees and that welcomes immigrants and that affirms our commitment that we have to being a welcoming city. That it's not a commentary on federal policy. And we don't have the authority to make federal policy. I just wanted to clarify that.
Reverend?
Thank you very much, George, for that clarification. Again, this evening, I would like to commend this council for the action you've taken. You have a policy here that matches the name of this city, Lemon Grove. That's a very welcoming sound. I think of the number of young entrepreneurs who have been inspired by having a lemonade stand. And I think about, what that means. A lemonade stand on a July hot day is refreshing. You stop and you enjoy that lemonade, and that's what this resolution says. We have a city here that offers you a cool, refreshing place to live. And I really wonder about people in this room who will stand and pledge allegiance to the flag, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And I wonder where they would be tonight if the anger that they express at immigrants had been expressed at their own immigrant ancestors. They would not be here, surely. Because you have to feel welcome. You have to feel like you're part of the community. You have to feel like you can make a contribution, that you can work, that you can have your children learn. You know, I think it is really deplorable that we are hating people we don't even know. And there's so much hate talk. E pluribus unum. Out of many, one. It may surprise some who are not really historically inclined to know that we had Muslims immigrating to this country during the time of George Washington, the first president of this country. And we have become so Islamophobic over nothing, really. Because when you look at all the mass shootings that everybody seems to be frightened of, the preponderance of them, I'm sad to say, as a Christian minister, the preponderance of them are people who were reared in Christian homes. That's sad. That's very sad. Thank you very much for what you are doing to set an example that this nation needs to follow. And I hope that they will. Thank you.
Thank you. Imam Taha Hassan.
Peace be with you all. My name is Taha Hassan. I'm the Imam and Director of, excuse me, of the Islamic Center of San Diego, which is the largest mosque in San Diego County. I settled here in San Diego in 2004 as an asylee. And I found San Diego County and Southern California very warmly welcoming. It didn't take me a long time to feel welcomed, mainly by religious leaders, faith leaders from all faiths, Christians, Jewish, Hindus, Baha'i, Buddhist. It didn't take me a long time to feel that I'm part of this community. And giving back to this community is what makes me, or what pushed me to be involved in so many organizations, nationwide, state of California, and San Diego County. I'm part of the ICWJ Interfaith Center for Worker Justice of San Diego County. I'm part of the Interfaith Shelter Network, my community, mainly immigrants and refugees, reaching out to the homeless population, teaming up with churches in our area, and serving the homeless population with shelters and food. Being also a member of the advisory board of the Chief Police of San Diego Police Department. Being also part or member of the interreligious or interfaith advisory board of the District Attorney Office. This is the way, as an immigrant, with my family here, that we are giving back to our society, to our community. Muslims have been here since the beginning of this country, since the very beginning. And if people think that my community members just came right before 9/11 or right after 9/11, this is a big mistake. Keep in mind that Muslims have been contributing for decades for the betterment of this nation like everyone else. There is in the United States 20,000 Muslim physicians, which makes them 10% of the physicians we have in the entire nation. So when you walk into a clinic or when you walk into a hospital, most likely you will be treated by a Muslim physician or a Muslim nurse. So we are here proud of the City Council of Lemon Grove and the mayor, and thank you so much for taking this or issuing this resolution, and may God bless everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Mom. The last name begins with an E, though. Thank you, sir. Please. Thank you, sir.
Okay. I've been in Lemon Grove 48 years, working in Lemon Grove for 48 years. I've been to many of these meetings, and I don't know if these guys understand it or not, but all the stuff that you're going to do, you're going to do. It doesn't matter what anybody says, you're going to do it. So I'm not having any problem doing that. I just want to know, there was no restrictions on anybody coming to Lemon Grove that I know of. No race, anybody could move here, isn't that correct? Then when I saw this in the paper, I was stunned. I want to know why we needed to put it in the newspaper and have the council pass a resolution when it was already there. Didn't need to. So that's my question. Okay, so if you can answer that, I'd be happy.
Did you know? The White House is having a campaign to help local communities who have to deal with immigration issues. Remember, we cannot control immigration. Help local communities integrate into their culture, into their community, any refugees that come into the city. And it simply says, we're a diverse city. We are very proud of our background. If you go look at the murals on the bakery, you'll trace where Lemon Grove really started, and it did not start with those of us who represent the folks up here. It started long before then. And this simply says, welcome, we want to integrate you into our community. That's all it says. Doesn't say we're accepting anybody, just says welcome. That's it. Reverend Hill, are you still there, sir? Okay, I understand, this is a long meeting. Frank Grumley?
Normal.
Thank you, sir, sorry about that. We won't start your time till he's finished.
Thanks. Thank you. I really wasn't going to speak tonight, but I immigrated to Lemon Grove all the way from Ocean Beach about 9 years ago into a house that my wife has owned for 20 years on Lincoln Street. Talk about potholes, you go to Lincoln Street. But I really wasn't going to talk tonight, but I got an inkling there was some people going to be here tonight that were going to be critical of this, and the same people have been critical of similar resolutions being passed by other cities. In fact, in the city of Imperial Beach, a bunch of folks came and protested the resolution in an IB, enforcing the mayor there to rescind it. And I sure didn't want that to happen in Lemon Grove. So I wanted to make sure I was at this meeting. So I want to endorse your statement wholeheartedly. And, you know, whether we like it or not, Lemon Grove is changing. Lemon Grove is becoming very, very, very diverse. My neighborhood doesn't look like this audience. In fact, what you're saying about the original, we're all immigrants. I doubt if anybody here doesn't come from a descendant of immigrants. In fact, the original people here were, of course, Native Americans, the Kumeyaw. Everybody else that came after them are immigrants. We're all immigrants. We're a nation of immigrants. This resolution, to me, basically reflects the Statue of Liberty statement. And I couldn't repeat it for you. But, so you're basically just reflecting national policy toward immigration in general. There's a crisis overseas. We're part of that crisis. Hopefully we won't be too much longer, but it's there. And, you know, the people who come out and protest these kind of declarations, some of them may live in Lemon Grove, but I wonder if they all do. And I really don't think they all do, because they're going around to different towns. And I looked at their website, and their website is very interesting. They're birthers. They don't believe that President Obama was born in the United States. And there's even posters there that show Obama as a terrorist. These are the folks that are coming to meetings like this, opposing this kind of resolution. That's deplorable. And as a resident of Lemon Grove, I'm very proud to be up here with you, making statements like this, endorsing statements like that. We're not being flooded by immigrants. There's more homeless people than immigrants here right now, and that's a national economic problem. It's not up to these folks, you, to deal with that. So, Lemon Grove is changing. We're very diverse now. In fact, Lemon Grove is the future California. Thank you.
It was not taken to the city council, and the city council did ask him to revoke it, which he did. This resolution was passed by the city council at that time. So only the full city council, or majority of the city council can revoke this. So there's a very different dynamics at play here than there is in Imperial Beach. The mayor did it on his own. I did not do this on my own. I have the support of 3 of my council members to do it, and Mr. Jones was not at the meeting, so. You were on vacation. Everybody needs to do that. Ms. Lupita Chavez?
Hello, good evening. Thank you for being here so late, everybody. I came in late, you know, I have my little daughter here. I wanted to say that Lemon Grove is a welcoming city. It is a beautiful city. To me, it's the gem of San Diego. Why? Because it's accessible to many freeways, and it's beautiful. It is a wonderful city, and I love it. I can't part with it. I would just caution the council to take a look at the other issues that are really there. I like diversity. I like to see diversity in our community. It's beautiful. But there's other issues too that need to be addressed, not just potholes, which is horrible because it's everywhere, but also the crime in the area, the homelessness. I go past this school every day. Do you know how many naked homeless people are on there? Vivian knows me by name because I call the city all the time. I call the police department because I don't think our kids deserve to see that stuff on the way to school. Bank of America has had concrete or asphalt there. I called them. They said that it was the city, that the city didn't pick it up. Would you know it? Someone picked up the pile of asphalt but left a plastic there, and it's been months. That's a shame that the bank and the city are going back and forth on whose property and who left that there. That's not my job. I have my own full-time job and my family, and I want Lemon Grove to thrive. So I think diversity is a great thing, but I want you to really focus also on other issues. Yes, let's open the doors. Let's invite people. Let's not be closing doors. But at the same time, let's address the human trafficking and all these other issues that are of concern. Let's fix Lemon Grove before we can take on more. That's what I would like to do. To fix Lemon Grove, make it the jewel of San Diego where people can say, I'm proud to be Lemon Grove. Chula Vista has a lemon festival, and we don't. What the hell is that? I grew up born and raised Lemon Grove, born and raised San Diego. We need to take our city back and look at the real issues. And yeah, it would be great to have a wonderful festival with all these diverse cultures, but I think we're missing the point and going and saying, okay, let's do this, let's do that. Let's fix our city first. Let's make it the true gem of San Diego that it is, restore it back, and have a beautiful, thriving Lemon Grove. Thank you.
And finally, Patricia Person. Patricia, are you still here?
Yes.
Oh, there you are.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, City Council. I would just like to know on this resolution that was passed by you, what, if any, compensation you will receive from the federal government for this resolution. I would also like to know where these refugees will live. And I don't care what nationality refugees are. I believe they need to come to the country like all the former refugees did through Ellis Island. I want to make sure they can support themselves. They have jobs and to take care of themselves. That's all I wanted to know, and thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Actually, nobody's compensating us for this because there's nothing that we're being required to do. So, no compensation. And what's interesting is when we had a large settlement of Chaldeans who were from the Middle East, but they're Christians, out in Rancho San Diego, we were aware, we were told they were coming. So we could prepare. Lemon Grove has not heard that anybody is being settled here. If individuals make it here because they have family, then welcome, please integrate. But I haven't heard anything from anyone that this outpouring of refugees and unvetted folks are coming, so I can't answer you, Ms. Person, because I have no clue. Nobody said anything, so, sorry. All right, that's the end of public comment.